Alright, welcome back to part 2 of Smark, guys. How are you doing? We're going to talk about TNA in this part.
That's my intro.
Hey, it's the Fonzie. We're going to talk about TNA in this part, so we're going to start off with Bound for Glory, and then we'll move on to TNA Impact from this week. So Bound for Glory, just to start, is actually the biggest TNA pay-per-view of the year. It's like their WrestleMania, per se.
Yes.
And the one thing that I do want to mention before we even start talking about the matches is the set. I thought the set was really good.
Well, they got out of the Impact Zone, where they always are.
Right.
They were in Daytona.
And they had those 3 giant screens. That was amazing how they had, you know...
Yeah, it was like it was a better production.
Absolutely. And, you know, screens raising up to show the wrestlers behind,
Now,
and all kinds of pyro.
A little foreshadowing for you. This was the same arena that Hulk Hogan turned heel in 1996.
Is it really?
And joined the NWO.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this is a little foreshadowing for everyone.
Oh, my God.
It actually was, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, before we spoil anything... So the pay-per-view starts out strong with a good match. It's the Motor City Machine Guns against Generation Me for the tag titles. Really strong match. Both of those teams, I feel, are great performers. You know, they always have really good spots, but they have good double teams. They kick out of each other's finishers. They put on a really good show.
It was fucking excellent. To me, this is pro wrestling at its best, you know.
Right.
People want to comment wrestling's fake and shit like that. Yeah, it's scripted, but this is why, as a wrestling fan, you enjoy wrestling.
That's right.
It's the marriage of like great athletics and creativity.
Right.
And guys sacrificing
risk, exactly.
Risk
exactly what I was
and sacrificing their health.
Crazy risk.
Put on a great show for an audience that appreciates it.
This match is like showing that workers let the workers work, let them do their thing, and you're going to put on.
And obviously, this is TNA at its best too.
Right.
And what TNA should be.
These are TNA originals. That's right. These are guys who've been in TNA, especially the Motor City Machine Guns, for quite a long time.
Yeah, this is TNA at its best, and what they should focus on.
So anyway, Motor City Machine Guns win the match. Really good match. Up next is a 4-way for the women's title. And the plot line going into this one is that Tara is actually coming back to TNA thanks to Madison Rayne.
Madison Rayne retired her, and she allowed her to come back. But to be her, like, her servant. Or
right.
whatever.
And then I guess it was a 4-way with the Beautiful People. Both of them. So the match is okay, and then all of a sudden, Mickie James is the guest ref, by the way. And that's
by the way, did you know Velvet Sky is from Waterbury?
Someone told me that.
Yeah, she actually is from Waterbury.
So she's from this area. Great. But anyway, so Mickie James is the guest ref for this match, and so it's going well, and all of a sudden the ending I kind of didn't get. Like, it was a really odd roll-up that Tara did to one of the Beautiful People. Horrible. And it was like, yeah, she went to grab the tights, but didn't even grab them, but they were selling like she grabbed the tights. And Mickie counts to 3, even though she can blatantly see that the tights are supposed to be being grabbed. And so now there's this big controversy because Madison Rayne's like, I just brought you back, and now you fucking win the match on me, and, you know, I was supposed to win the title. So that's how that angle ends.
Yeah, what I felt at the time was like, Tara versus Mickie James would probably be like the best match they can do from a wrestling standpoint. But as we find out later on, that's not what direction they're going.
Well, we'll figure, yeah, we'll get to that.
That's how I felt at the moment.
We'll get to that. Alright, so the next match, which I cannot believe they did this match again, is Eric Young.
Is that really the next match?
Yes.
That's fucking like 2 horrible matches in a row.
Eric Young and Orlando Jordan against Inc. again. Now, this is like the 3rd time in a row that they've had this match. And every time it's a weirder ending. This time Eric Young goes crazy and thinks he's part of the other team, starts beating up Orlando Jordan, which ends up causing them the match, and they lose. And of course, Orlando Jordan's pissed off, but because they're continuing this really weird angle, for some reason they're still a team.
I don't really like to see it personally. I know, like in the defense of that, like it seems like the crowd was into some portions of it. They were laughing and shit. But I mean, that's probably going to be the end of that. You do that over and over again, you're not going to get the same reaction.
Right.
But like personally, I'd like to see them. There's other guys in that roster that could be in that spot, have a good match, deliver a good match. Desmond Wolfe being one of those people is fucking really good. He wasn't even on the show.
Yeah.
Or just have promos from the other guys to build up the coming matches. Have like a backstage segment with Fortune or someone. I don't know.
Why have a complete filler match like that again?
It's
not
a filler
even the
match.
first time they've done it.
It's like just to kill time and to fucking throw something in there that someone in TNA in the back thinks it's funny. Thinks it's like fucking hilarious. So like, let's just keep doing it because I personally like it and laugh.
So weird.
So, yeah.
The next match was Jay Lethal against Doug Williams for the X Division title. Now, I remember the match being very good, but wasn't there something really bad about the ending? Do you remember how it ended? Because I have a note here that it was just like bad
tell me about
ending.
what happened after the match.
Well, no, like
During the actual match.
the actual how he got pinned.
Oh, he went for the. They do this thing where Doug Williams is like in the X Division, but he's not an X Division wrestler. So he tries these moves that he can't do.
Right.
So he tried like a Hurricane Rana, and then Jay Lethal just like.
That's right. That's right. And I was like, what the hell is this shit?
It's stupid. I mean, the match was really good though. Overall,
Yeah.
It was an excellent match. I don't really like that either because it's like, if the guy knows he can't do this stuff, why is he? And he's a heel too. Why is he trying to prove that he can do the moves?
Right. So I don't know.
That's the gimmick. That's his gimmick.
So then, after the match ends, yes, Jay Lethal won, and then this new group that we talked about last week, the Shore, comes out and beats the shit out of him.
Jay Lethal, who's excellent talent, who's been in TNA for like 4 years.
Yeah,
gets his big moment finally.
After year pay-per-view, the biggest pay-per-view of the year, he wins.
After all the bullshit, he finally wins on the big pay-per-view with a belt. He goes into the crowd. He's celebrating. People are fucking way into it. And then, like, basically this stupid gimmick makes itself...
I'm also from Jersey, and I don't like you.
Yeah.
I want the X Division title.
This ugly gimmick, this ugly booked crap rears its head, and he attacks Jay Lethal and just lays him. He's laid out.
But did you notice what his finisher move was?
It's the fucking Diamond RKO.
It's RKO. It's exactly the same. He didn't even try to like do a variation, like Orton does a variation on the Diamond card. He did the RKO. There was no difference.
Yeah,
so it was pretty funny.
It's probably the only one they could think of where he could like do the pump and then run.
Yeah, and then do it. So really,
that was upsetting. And like that's something for Impact.
Right, exactly. These promos are for Impact. They're not for your pay-per-view.
You're booking something on the pay-per-view. Like the pay-per-view is like supposed to be the culmination of the feud.
Right.
Don't just fucking start a new one.
Use your Impact show to build up the pay-per-view. Don't use the pay-per-view to build up Impact.
Make Jay Lethal win like you did. For 99% of it was good.
Right.
Make him look strong, and then you're going to the next show. Oh, what's next for him? Because I like him, and he's a viable talent.
Right. Exactly right. So. Alright, so up next was RVD against Abyss, and this was a long time coming because RVD wanted to get his revenge on Abyss for supposedly taking him out.
Yeah.
Decent match, I mean, being the fact that it was Extreme Rules, you could use whatever you want. There was a couple of Van Daminators, there was a Van Terminator.
Van Dam took a sick bump.
A really sick bump.
We threw his body into the fucking barbed wire board.
Yeah.
He got knocked off the apron.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it.
It was a decent match, pretty good.
It's a little hokey when he used the fucking Janus 2x4 and hit someone. He's like, ugh.
Yeah, and it's like he's really gonna hit someone with that 2x4 covered in real nails.
Well, he did hit him, and then he's like selling it, but he did come out like an hour later on the show.
Right.
So that's the problem with having a weapon like that is like you eventually it has to be used in some way, and when you do use it, you can't really like fucking maul the guy with it.
Right.
Obviously, so it just comes off as dumb.
Right.
But I really enjoyed the match, and like I thought it was one of the better matches on the show.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, or one of the good points on the show.
It's then they call that match Monsters Ball for a reason because you know what to expect, and they usually do deliver on those matches. So that was pretty solid.
Yeah, both guys worked hard and beat the shit out of themselves for the audience. So I appreciate that.
Up next was one of the oddest matches because a lot of people didn't know what to expect. This was Sting with Nash and the Pope against Double J and Samoa Joe. And they were teasing for weeks that Hogan was going to be the third person on this team. And, of course, it didn't end up happening. Hogan didn't show up.
Right.
So it ended up being a handicap match between the 3 versus 2. All of a sudden, like 10 minutes into the match, when Joe goes for the tag, Double J walks away. So here's
sign of things to come.
Here's your swerve that's starting to...
setting the table here.
Exactly. Trying to get putting the pieces together of what's going to happen for the rest of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected some kind of swerve, whether it was Joe turning or someone.
Right.
It was a swerve. Was it like interesting or did it blow your mind? Not really.
Not really.
It was just like,
if anything, it was really cool because when Double J walked away, Joe turned around and saw all 3 guys in the ring. He said, he yelled at the top of his lungs, "Fuck the world!" And he charged after. I was like, wow, they just put that on a pay-per-view.
What I hate is like bad commentary and like today during this part. He's like, why would Jeff Jarrett turn his back on Joe? It's like fucking Jeff Jarrett was a heel in TNA.
For how long? How many
6
years?
And he's been a face for like a year. So it's like, is that really, really? It's like such a shock.
So it makes no sense. But anyway, there ends up being he walks away. Joe obviously loses the match 3-on-1.
Is it kind of weird that they would beat up Joe because they were supposed to be like,
dude,
they were fake heels and they're really faces.
It's their paycheck. They got to do what they got to do to make the money.
They're like, really, whatever.
They have to win or they don't get paid on. It's bound for glory. It's the biggest pay.
And wouldn't Joe be mad at them also for like beating the fuck out of him?
Absolutely not.
And why does Kevin Nash get the pin when he's the old fucking broken down guy.
It's probably the last pin he'll ever get. Why'd you give him a little bit of
all right. I'll let him
The
have.
poor guy, he was in the ring for like 3 seconds. He could barely walk across the ring. I mean...
Alright, maybe the Pope should get the pin because he's the up-and-coming guy.
But then...
Doesn't matter.
You know Nash's gimmick, he has to win everything. It's all about the money, so...
It's all about the dollars.
So it makes sense.
$1 million Nash.
Up next, in a very surprise move, I don't think anyone was expecting these guys, but the Dudleys come out. And, you know, obviously...
Team 3D now. Copyright infringement.
I'm sorry, it's Team 3D. Yeah,
it's
right.
always
It's
the
not
name,
the Dudleys or the Dudley Boys or the Dudley Dudes. It's the fucking Team 3D. They come out and basically they cut a promo saying, listen, we've done everything in the industry. We've won every tag title multiple times. At this point, the only thing we want to do is go out on top, so we're going to retire. And of course, the crowd was like, no, one more match. So then they actually turn around and announce, well, if we're going to go out, we want to go out as the champions, so we challenge Motor City Machine Guns to a match for their titles, and that way if we win, we actually go out as the champions, and if not, we go out with a really good match.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I don't know if it's real. if where it's going.
Right.
It's a nice match. It's a nice sub for a match, and it's a nice thing to do.
And you know, I think
Team 3D is the greatest tag team ever. I think if you put their body work next to anyone,
they've surely put their bodies on the line so many times.
Yeah.
For
if you put their body work next to any other teams, like it wasn't always in the biggest promotion and shit like that.
That's right.
You want to make that
right,
or against the biggest names. But like the quality of work that they put in, in my opinion, they are the best team.
Right.
And they very well could be retired. I don't know. They're up there in years. And,
at this point,
and miles and shit.
So we'll see again. We'll see if they do follow up on that angle. Just kind of they came out, did the promo and left, and really didn't go anywhere after that. Next match was Fortune.
Well, they had Mike Tenay and Taz argue about it.
Well,
which
yeah,
was fucking stupid.
Which made no sense. Taz was like, this makes no sense. Why would they do that?
Yeah, they argued for like 6 minutes.
Why would they ever put their titles on the line? And
like, why are these guys even talking about this?
Yeah, it's like two announcers. I think what it was is they needed filler time, so they said, quick, do something on the mic.
Like, just talking about this for
this Dorito sucks. It's disgusting. I hate this. Well, how dare you insult my Doritos?
Yeah, it came off as kind of like an improv shit.
Yeah,
type of deal. So
pretty funny. Next match was the cage match, Fortune versus EV2.
I liked it.
Trying to see what I wrote down here. Flair was wearing a hilarious halter top when he came out.
Yeah.
It's the same shirt. I don't know if you remember, HBK wore that shirt like 3 years ago.
It's probably his.
It's probably his. It's hilarious. He came out and everyone's like, "What the fuck is he wearing? A dress?"
Yeah, and Flair and Foley brawled like early, like before it.
Right before he even started.
I swear to God, I saw Flair bleed. Right in the front of the screen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right in front.
It's the same cut.
But why does he do it right in front? This is the second week in a row he does it right in front of the screen.
I think he's used to better cameramen, to be completely honest. Like in WWE, they would always cover.
Yeah, but he's doing it in front of the. Yeah, he's like old.
Yeah, he probably doesn't He probably thinks that the cameraman's doing his job, and in this case, the cameraman's like, "What is he doing right there?"
He's either used to better camera work or used to like when there was no camera work back in the fucking 80s or something. I don't know what the fuck.
But
whatever, it's cool. I like that. I like how they did that.
It was a long match.
It shows that these guys don't like each other.
Right. Exactly right. Yep.
That's something that's also missing from wrestling, where it's just like genuine like dislike.
Right.
And you kind of get that from those guys.
Right. So
this match was cool, man. Like,
the match was good.
I like how they set it up. There's no pin until everyone's in the ring.
So really, it was just like a lot of guys going back and forth. Bleeding, yeah, it was just
bleeding and fucking
crazy going back. And I thought honestly, I did think Fortune was going to go over, but then
Fortune probably should have gone over. It was odd.
Especially because they're pushing like Fortune is the TNA originals versus
but they don't
guys.
They don't care about. I think it's almost like a detriment to your career if you are a TNA original.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like no.
It seems like, but anyway, EV2 gets the win after a whole bunch of crazy
Zombie Dreamer does the Spicoli driver off the top rope into a chair, which was cool. They got the surprise win. And,
right.
The follow-up from that, EV2 wasn't even on Impact.
Well, and we'll talk about that. But that's kind of funny. But that
was good.
That was a decent match.
Fucking enjoyable.
Now comes your main event, and the promo for the main event. I don't know if you noticed this, John, but wasn't it playing like the oddest fucking music? Like it was like sleepy music. And I was thinking, if you're gonna pipe up a match, why not have like here it comes? And I was like, I was like, what the fuck are they
supposed to be like inspirational, kind of like we're all fighting for this?
Well, I was inspired to take a 5-minute nap until the match started.
It was basically like they were trying to say that the belt was really important, and all these guys are focused on this, and they're working hard, and they really want the belt, and this is like an important deal you're gonna watch.
Right.
And then it turned into a fucking
So anyway, the match was actually, again, this is Angle against Mr. Anderson against Jeff Hardy, triple threat for the TNA title. And the stipulation here was that if Kurt Angle lost, he was going to quit because he wanted to win. He says he had to be the best of the best. He had to prove it to himself. Lots of really cool spots in this match. At one point, Kurt Angle gets both Jeff Hardy and Mr. Anderson in an angle lock at the same time, which I've never seen him do, even in WWE. Yeah. That was pretty damn cool. At one point, Jeff Hardy did a swanton and then pinned both of them at the same time. I was like, oh, does that mean he wins 2 titles if he gets the pin? It was
the ref actually counted with both hands.
Yeah, he was counting with both hands like this, like he was pinning both guys.
What I really enjoyed about the match is like a lot of these 3-way matches in all wrestling companies, like what they'll do is like, they'll all start in the ring and like one guy will get knocked out,
right?
And then he'll just be dead for like 10 minutes,
right?
While the other 2 fight, and then they'll just kind of like interchange the guys, which is like 2.
Right.
All 3 guys were very active in this match.
And going at it the whole time, right?
They were very active. They were all doing counter each other. It was fucking great. If they had like a finish to it, it might have been one of the matches of the year, I think.
Well, so anyway, yeah, let's get to that. The match draws on, and everyone's doing everyone's finisher to each other. Everyone's kicking out of the finisher, which, you know, at an event like this, you would expect that kind of determination from the wrestlers if this were, you know, real, per se. And so finally, you're getting to the end, you think it's going to be over, and then all of a sudden, Eric Bischoff walks
Well, first
up.
of all, there was a ref bump.
Well, there was a ref bump.
During the match.
That's right.
Now, how does fucking Bischoff know that's going to happen?
I don't know.
So there's a random ref bump, and then Bischoff comes out.
And it looks like he's going to hit someone with a chair. He actually grabs a steel chair and looks like he's going to start hitting people with it.
Which was odd, because it was like, who...
Why? Well, who was he rooting for? Like, he hadn't even been involved in that angle up to now.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Hogan's music starts playing. Hogan hits the ring.
He's limping like...
limping, because supposedly he just had back surgery and he's on 2 crutches. So he comes out, and now he's there in a standoff with Bischoff like he's going to stop him. But then guess what happens in typical TNA fashion? Hogan turns, gives Bischoff a crutch, and they each beat up with Mr. Anderson and Angle with these crutches.
Jeff Hardy came in, and Jeff Hardy took a crutch from Hogan,
and
he was like, he was
going to stop him.
I'm going to stop Bischoff, and then he hit Mr. Anderson, or Angle with
the crutch. So basically, Jeff Hardy turns, somehow has aligned himself with Hogan and with Bischoff. Hardy does the swanton, gets the 3 count, wins the title. So basically, it's a screw job victory. Then all of a sudden, Jeff Jarrett walks out. Oh, I was part of the plan all along. Then Abyss walks out. Oh, I was part of the plan all along. So this is this giant clusterfuck screw job that completely ruins what would have been one of the best matches of the year, in my opinion, at least, for the way it was going, just having the worst fucking possible outcome.
It was just a strange stable when you looked at the ring. It was like Jeff Hardy, Abyss, and Jeff Jarrett. And then Hogan and Bischoff. You're like, why the fuck are these people together?
Right.
And, you know, lots of people give them credit for this, but, like, no one expected Jeff Hardy to win.
Right, that's true.
But if it's not, like, done in a... Just because it wasn't expected doesn't make it good.
If it was legitimate win, it would have been a lot different, but it wasn't legitimate,
right.
So...
Just because, like, you swerve the fans, or the booking swerves the fans, doesn't make it, like, exciting or good, or that you want to watch it.
Right.
You know? If, like, fucking Sergeant Slaughter came out and, like, somehow won the belt, like, that'd be shocking as fuck, too. But, like, it doesn't necessarily make it good.
Right. Especially when you have such an amazing match like that, and you're like, wow, this is what TNA is about, this is what they've been promoting for this whole time, this is going to change the face of wrestling, and then they fuck the ending.
Yeah, and I think most people knew Eric Bischoff was going to be part of that. I think we talked about this last week.
Yes, we did.
The other guys being part of it, too... It depends how they do it. If it's like the NWO again, then it's bad.
Well, following along with that, let's now talk about Impact and how they basically rode this wave of this swerve that ended Bound for Glory. Impact actually opened up with the crowd popping for Hogan and Bischoff, which was hilarious because they're coming out supposed to be these like heels, but all of a sudden you hear the crowd, yeah, Hogan! I was like, what the fuck?
That's kind of weird. I think they should have done this from the start with them. Because if you remember when Hogan and Bischoff first came to TNA, they were getting booed quite a bit. Right. Because they were like changing things, and like they did that promo where it's like we don't want this 6-sided ring anymore, brother. Right. We're not the Fours, and they fucking booed them. Right. So I think they should have. I think they're better off as heels because like people just don't like them anymore, and they have a reputation for like legitimately killing companies. So if they came in as heels in the first place, I think it would have been a better run for them overall. Yeah. But now they're heels, so we'll get back to where...
So now they're heels, they're in the ring, and they're like, okay, you know, we now own TNA, and it was a trick, because if you remember what we talked about last week, there was a contract that Eric Bischoff had handed to Dixie Carter. That was supposed to be Abyss's termination contract, Well, in an amazing swerve, guess what? That wasn't the contract. It was
Yeah.
a contract that basically signed the whole company over to Hogan.
Yeah, but
and
then
Bischoff.
just so many holes in it. It's like, how did he know that she was going to ask him to fire him?
Right.
And then present the contract.
Right, and you know.
There's a lot of shit like that. There's also like Abyss and Jeff Hardy like fought a lot.
Right, and now all of a sudden they're on the same
So,
team.
there's like they tried to act like they came up with this like
Months ago, and
incredible long
yeah.
planned out shit. There's a lot of there's holes in it. Some of this stuff does make sense. The problem with it though, like a lot of it wasn't fun to watch over the last couple of months. Like
Right.
the stuff with Sting and Nash.
It was just confusing. You didn't know what was going on.
So it did lead to something, but it wasn't. In really, the process of like getting to where we had to go wasn't that enjoyable. And I don't know if the payoff is going to be that enjoyable. But
Right.
we'll find out.
And so they're doing this promo in the ring, and all of a sudden Fortune hits the ring, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Because now Fortune had previously been like the heels of the show, and they're like, "Well, Ric Flair doesn't like Hogan." Everyone knows this. For years they've been feuding. I mean, since back in the '80s they've been feuding.
25 years they said.
25 years of feuding between these two, and they're like, "Oh, what's going to happen?" And of course, Flair hugs Hogan, becomes part of this new stable. Abyss hits the ring. Oh, he's part of it. Jeff Hardy hits the ring. Oh, we're all part of it. We're all. So now you have like 14 people in the ring that are part of this.
I think there's
new
actually
group.
12 people in the alliance or whatever it is.
It's Immortal. That's the name of this.
Why?
New group.
Yeah. What was
Immortal.
that? They kept saying we're immortal. We'll never die.
Yeah.
Are they all vampires now? Like,
Yes.
Is this like a Twilight? It's like Twilight. Or
Yes,
something?
this is Twilight National
They
Wrestling.
kept saying that it's like we will never die. It's like they're a bunch of vampires now. I guess.
Twilight nonstop action.
It's the Brood. Green Girl's gonna come out.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But yeah, so they're called Immortal for whatever reason. They don't really explain it. Then they invite Nash and Sting to come to the ring. They say, "Come on down, guys. You're our old friends.
They were right the whole
Let
time.
bygones be bygones. Come on and join us." And then Nash cuts this really weird promo where he says, "I used to be an asshole and be all about the money, but I've gotten older and wiser, and I'm not going to do that anymore because I respect the guys in the back." And then Sting says something really interesting. He says, "I don't want to repeat history," and leaves the ring. And it's almost like he's telling them, your angle that you're doing with this takeover is NWO, and I'm not doing this shit
That's
again.
an interesting way to think about it.
And he leaves.
I was expecting him to like knock everyone out of the ring like he used to do with NWO.
Right.
He used to come in like just hit a guy to jump out.
Yeah, and they'd all bounce out of the ring
expected
like
that,
rubber dolls. But now it's like he just quits. He's like, basically the angle is they're quitting. They don't want to work for TNA anymore because they're not doing this NWO angle again.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they go to the back and now the Pope comes out. He goes like, "What the fuck? We just teamed up. We just figured everything out, and now we should be going to go against these guys."
Yeah, we were right the whole time.
We were right the whole time. And they're like, "Well, sorry, we're quitting. You could quit too. We have room in the car." And he's like, "No, I'm not
There was
coming
some,
with you."
and then Dixie Carter came out. There's actually some good acting going on from her. She's just like a business person,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought it was well done. She was pleading with
Yep.
Nash instead.
Don't leave. Why are you leaving me? I need you now.
I'm just kind of like, we told you, and she's like, you were speaking.
Speaking in tongues. I couldn't understand.
Which was true, and as a viewer, I was like, yeah, they were speaking. Why couldn't they just say, it's fucking that guy?
It's that guy right there.
He's
the one that's gonna steal your company.
Yeah.
It was too hard.
They had to say it like cryptically, I guess, but.
So
There's
anyway,
some good stuff, and I like the segment with, what was it, Hogan, Bischoff, and her in the back.
well, right, that's what I was gonna say. So Nash and Sting leave, and then they end up cutting another promo. Now, keep in mind, we're almost 50 minutes into the show. There hasn't been a hint of wrestling in the show yet. There's another promo where Dixie's in the back. She runs into Hogan and Bischoff. She slaps Bischoff across the face.
There's some good stuff in there. There's some good tension.
Then they go into Hogan's office, and they're all discussing this. And basically, Hogan says, "Yes, I screwed you, Dixie. Tough shit. You didn't do what I wanted you to do as quickly as I wanted you to do it. So now I stole your company from you." And then Dixie gets thrown out of the Impact Arena.
I think the heart of like storytelling and wrestling is like just tension and hate between parties, and that's like what we got. And there was some good stuff going on.
It just would have been nice.
Bischoff is so good at being that that fucking
the
dick.
smug son of a bitch.
And he was doing it. And it's just like I think it's who he is. Naturally.
He's still good at it, but it's like I think
it's actually who he is personally.
You think he's really a smug son of a bitch like that?
No, he is.
So 50 minutes into the show, and then 50 minutes into the show, we finally have a first match, which really isn't a match. Madison Rayne comes out all pissed off. She's dragging a ref, and she says, "I want a match right now against Tara for the title," because she was supposed to lay down for me at Bound for Glory, and she won, which is bullshit. So Tara comes out. What does she do? She lays down, and Madison wins immediately. So here we are, 50 minutes into the show, really not a real match yet. Mickey James, unsurprisingly, comes out. "Oh, how could you respect the title when you win it like that? I'm challenging you for the title." She beats her up, and
She had a good promo where she put over like the title shouldn't be treated like that.
Right.
The women's women's title is just fucking shit at this point because
It's awful. It's like
people just win it out of nowhere and then they give it to each other. They had an angle a couple of months ago where like they had all the knockouts sit down and each got a box. Whatever was in the box you get. And like
I remember that.
Angelina opened the box and the belt was in it. She won the belt like that.
What the fuck?
Well, they just do nonsense with
You want a belt?
I don't know. They just do nonsense with the title. So
you got a piece of dog shit.
yeah, it's just there's no important. I guess what they're.
I don't know.
Tara's obviously got to fucking turn on.
Right.
You know, she's like Virgil or something.
Right.
That's
She's
all it
gonna
is.
turn on Madison.
She's like Nikolai Volkov or Virgil.
They will have a triple threat or something like that.
That's all it is.
So now next, Angle comes out and basically he says, listen, before I quit, because basically I'm a man of my word and I did not win the title at Bound for Glory, I want some answers because I don't understand why I got screwed by Jeff Jarrett and by Hogan and Bischoff, and I don't know what's going on. So Double J comes out, and it's like, why? Because he was calling out Hogan and Bischoff. Why is Double J coming out? Double J basically says, I'm the one who planned that. I fucked you over on purpose because if you remember, like 3 years ago, there was this Angle where they had a feud, and it was like Double J had brought Angle into TNA.
And then Angle beat him and all that
Angle beat him, was going against him.
Then I guess Angle became the top star, they're trying to say.
Right, and so this was like Double J's way of finally, years later, getting back at him.
There was some really good inside stuff, like...
Oh, yeah, talking about...
Jarrett actually married Angle's ex-wife.
Right.
So what he...
Karen.
Yeah, so what did Angle say? He goes, you could keep that...
You can keep that bitch.
That was great.
Or cunt, I don't know, because they bleeped out the word.
Yeah, I'm sure he said... I doubt he said... He probably said bitch.
So crazy. It was so crazy that he even brought that up.
Yeah, it was really cool, and both guys were on fire with this one. I enjoyed that.
It was a good promo. They went back and forth with a lot of nasty personal stuff.
Yep.
All of a sudden they start fighting, but the thing is, since Double J's kind of in this new group Immortal, now everyone works for him, so the security runs out and starts beating up Angle. Fucking Double J throws Angle into the wall, which supposedly messes up his neck again, and no one's coming out to save him, so who gets up and tries to help him? Taz, of all people, gets up from the announce booth.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
And breaks up this fight.
Is that a swerve? Is Taz part of the group?
Is Taz now going to start wrestling again?
I don't think so. Like what they might do is like he might be the heel commentator as part of the group, which would be dumb. I don't know where they're going with that. Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it was just a way to end what was going on.
Maybe
just a way to like.
Because if they realized no one was going to come out and save him, how do you end it? You know.
Yeah. And when did Samoa Joe come out?
So. Exactly. So everyone's like, "What's going on with this whole thing?" Like half the people from the pay-per-view haven't even been on the show yet, and we're over an hour and 15 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they cut to a Samoa Joe promo where he's walking outside somewhere, and he goes, "Jarrett, you cheated me. You know, you knew that I was the guy who would be the animal for you and kill whoever was you put in front of me, and then you turned on me. Now you're the person in front of me." And then all of a sudden they cut back to the Impact Zone, and Joe comes out and he's wrestling Abyss.
They did this last week too with Mick Foley, where he was somewhere else. And he did a promo that was taped, and then they just went to the match.
It's like, what is going on?
So like, just do an old school promo in the back.
Yeah, why couldn't he say that in the back and say, "But first, I gotta go through Abyss," and then they would have came out and wrestled Abyss.
Is Christy Hemme like not available on certain days where she's only on the pay-per-views and does the interviews? Like,
I'm very lost. It just didn't make much sense. But this was an hour and 15 minutes into the show. Finally, we have our first real wrestling match. It's Abyss versus Samoa Joe, and they're going crazy, you know, on each other. Pretty good, you know, showing by Joe, I have to say. He was probably going crazy with fucking crazy kicks and shit.
This was the opportunity they have to really, like, relaunch Joe in a big way.
Right, but then what happens? Well, Abyss gets pissed, leaves the ring, grabs the ring bell, and hits Joe with the ring bell. So now Joe's bladed, and he's gushing blood all over the place. And the match is over. Abyss is still beating him down. We get RVD who runs in for the save and basically breaks it up. And it's really awkward because Abyss leaves, and now it's like Joe and RVD standing in the ring staring at each other, and Joe's like not grateful at all that this happened. Just seems really pissed off.
Well, Joe's character, like he hates everyone, or maybe doesn't trust everyone.
Joe is kind of like the Austin of TNA right now, where he doesn't trust anyone.
Or he's like
only out for
Taz. He's like Taz from the old ECW.
From the old ECW, that's right.
Well, this is like an opportunity to really relaunch Joe. I don't know if this. It would have been stronger for him to come out and like beat the fuck out of Jarrett while he was beating up Angle. To have him like. Get taken out by Abyss is like...
Right.
And then be saved by RVD.
Right, weird.
And then Abyss is like afraid of RVD.
Yeah, and that was really like, oh no, it's RVD, it's a stoner, I have to get out of the ring immediately. So I don't know, really kind of weird. But keep in mind now, we're over an hour, 50 minutes into this show. We still haven't had a legitimate ending to any matches. So RVD all of a sudden starts cutting a promo. He says, "I'm not leaving the ring till I get answers from Jeff Hardy." He says, "And I need answers on," and he's saying a bunch of F words, and he's like, on focus, on family. Friendship. And then all of a sudden, they cut to Jeff Hardy. He goes, friendship. Well, I'll tell you something about friendship. I was like, he never said friendship. It was hilarious.
It was obviously like a pre-taped thing from Jeff Hardy.
So obviously, RVD couldn't remember what the line was.
I thought Jeff Hardy was good too. I think like I think a lot of people had doubts after he turned heel that it was just like turning Goldberg heel, or like when Sting turns heel, it's stupid or bad.
Well, what I'm liking is they're kind of changing his image a little bit. Like he didn't have the makeup on at all night. He looked like he was more serious about what was going on.
He seems very serious, and he seems like very cold,
right?
And like into it.
And that's the way to go about it if you're going to be a heel champion.
So far, I have to enjoy Jeff Hardy as being the heel. So
then it was announced Bischoff came out.